Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Check Me. Let's talk about Alabama as of this week, named Jalen Milroe as the starter. Lots to kind of break down here and talk about. And in my previous videos, I specifically talked and spoke about Jalen Milroe having to be a quicker passer, and competing and winning versus competitive teams. We have an opponent in Ole Miss coming up. So when we break down the film today, I kind of talk about what I talk about and talk about why I like Tyler Buchner as a quarterback. I went back, watched the film against Texas again. Against Texas, he essentially Jalen Milroe didn't have an ideal pocket sometimes, but when he did, he was 50-50. So there were some passes that he made when he was standing tall in the pocket. The routes were already developed way downfield. And when Jalen Milroe played in high school, and kind of how he is successful is when you allow routes to develop. He's used to having having a pocket where he's comfortable in. He can sit in the pocket. He can take his time for the game to progress and come to him. So the offense, the quick offense, is essentially not Jalen Milroe's playing style. So whoever scouted him, recruiting him, probably didn't think about this. If you look at Bryce Young, Mac Jones is a little bit different, but Mac Jones, Bryce Young, the quick game was they're fast, sharp thinkers. They worked well in the quick game. They got the ball out quick within, I would say anywhere between 2 to 3 seconds consistently. They were able to make a read real quick, understand the defense, and then trust their arm, even though Jalen Milroe has a stronger arm than both. Jalen Milroe trusts his arm, but it's after the play has already progressed. We'll take a look at some of his interceptions that he made, 2 interceptions that he made, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about when we break down the film as far as Jalen Milroe not being able to make the quick throw. Why I like Tyler Buchner is because Tyler Buchner does make that quick throw, and Tyler Buchner has legs. Now, Tyler Buchner was off, right? That was the problem. It wasn't he wasn't the fact that he was making the bad read. He was just off, right? And I understand that pregame, first game jitters. Of course, you're Alabama, so you don't get a chance for that. He had one shot and that was it. Jalen Milroe, that's not how he operates. And for example, when I played in college, I went through 4 different offenses, and where my game suited best as a receiver was not quick game, right? Because I wasn't necessarily the fastest. I didn't necessarily have the agility to catch the ball and make plays in the middle. But if you give me a deep corner, a comeback, a curl, a dig, allow me to really have route creativity, I would excel, right? But if I'm just going to go out there and just run a slant, and then have to outrun people, that may not be my suit. I can find spots in the zone. That's not ideally how our offense was operating. This offense is kind of like that, a quick game, a quick West Coast offense where it's predicated on quick throws, quick reads. Which Jalen Milroe, that's not where he's best suited. Jalen Milroe is best suited when you allow routes to develop. So you see some of his best throws in the game against Texas was where he had a clean pocket because the game slowed down for him. The receivers developed down the field, and he was able to make that throw. There were at times when Texas was flat on the defensive line, and what I mean by that is this. And if you play football, they may have 6 or 7 on the defensive line, and you don't know who's coming. Now, in college, you're not calling your own protections, right? And most likely the center's calling protection, or the O-lines communicating with each other to call out protections. So Jalen Milroe just has to make a quick read, not understanding or trying to figure out where the blitz comes from unless he watched film. And I don't know if he's watching film on pass pro, defensive fronts, because these all things can help us. But as we break down the film, let's take a look at Jalen Milroe, his 2 interceptions, and why I say the game is coming too fast for him. There were opportunities where he could have made throws, but the first one, the very first interception he threw, he stared down a receiver, He did the same exact thing on the second interception, but if he would have understand how defense flowed and looked at the safety, pre-snap as well as when they hiked the ball to see where safety's shifting, if he's staying honest or not, he would understand there was a better matchup than the one when he threw an interception. So let's take a look at the film, these two plays here, and then we'll follow up with some final thoughts. So on this first play, it's 2nd and 10. We don't have to get the full 10 on this play. You got 3-by-1 with the tight end on the strong side. So essentially, looks like you have 11 personnel. You have 3 receivers, 1 tight, and one fullback. You got Burton as your H. You got, I'm not sure who this is, as your Z, and wide out probably Rooks as your X. Versus you can tell this is some type of zone because you got a defender up top. You got a linebacker standing up, looks like a D tackle standing up, but the safeties are split in the field and they're not man on. So the first look you got is you have some type of zone coverage. So depending on what this DN that's essentially off the edge of the probably like a 6 technique. Depending on what he does is where your protection is going to come from, right? So simple, you got a 5-man rush, 5-man blitz that's coming. Now, if you look at this, the running back is picking up the blitz. Jalen Milroe has a clean pocket. Now, 3-by-1, essentially you want to go there, but he's already stayed down this receiver. At this point, he should know that it's cluttered in there. So what do? Right? He's making a quick read. What do? You throw your backside tight ends wide open. Right? Read the field. But he was so locked in on Burton, he makes the throw, didn't see the whole defender on the outside that didn't follow the guy playing 2. Looks like they're playing essentially cover 2. And threw it right into coverage. But that's a simple read he has to make. So on this next one, what we do have is him playing some type of two coverage, 2-man. Pre-snap read, the safety walks up. So what do you have backside? Immediately, what do you have backside? This is where Jalen Milroe has to get better. There's no way that safety on the right-hand side, on that pretty much close to the far hash, is going to be able to make a play on man. You have man coverage. So instead of going to where there's 3 defenders, see, he's throwing into 3 defenders because they went on a 2-man route. It was a 2-man route. The safety was shaded over, so he had help. Instead of him going to Corey Rook's backside, he goes to Burton. I'm not sure what he does right here, but he goes blind and he throws a pick instead of going to Jacory Rook's backside. Those are right to defender. These are some of the small decisions that he has to be better at when it comes to not staring down receivers. He's comfortable in the pocket, but he's also liable to make a bad play. So he threw these 2 passes with a clean pocket. He has to be smarter with the ball. Tyler Buchner didn't do this, and Tyler Buchner had a different pocket than him. So you see where Jalen Milroe, he being patient, at the same time making the quick throw, making the quick read, not staring down receivers, how it can benefit him. I do think Jalen Milroe is a good option. I think he's a better option between Tyler Buchner because Tyler Buchner's not going to get the opportunity to. You're at Alabama. You have to win now. It's not Notre Dame. So Jalen Milroe is going to have to really progress. They're going to really have to sit down with Jalen Milroe and say, get the ball out quicker. This will only help the pass rush, not rush heavy. It will slow up the pass rush. Also, if they get the ball out quicker, then those 3-4 yard catches, they go a long way when it comes to moving the ball down the field. Especially you're looking at second and 6 or 3rd and 2 versus 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15. And the team has to execute better. There was a lot of mishaps. Illegal man downfield. They got a touchdown call back. The punt return call back. I talked about this in my other video. Execution is when you're doing things right and you're not making mistakes. Improvision is when you're doing things, some mistakes are being made and you have to, pull a rabbit out of your hat. Alabama needs to mitigate those mistakes and be more efficient. This is probably the over a 2-year span where Alabama has been penalized the most under Nick Saban's reign. So they have to get those things tidied up. I'm a little bit more optimistic. Going against Ole Miss. It's going to be a true test to Jalen Milroe because Lane Kiffin knows Nick Saban. He knows that team. He's already playing psychological games, because they're buddy-buddy. But he coached under him. But Jalen Milroe is going to have to really, really be poised as well as think sharp. I always say, don't hesitate. Whatever you do, don't as a quarterback, don't hesitate. If you're going to throw the ball, if you see something, you throw the ball in coverage, but you see a DB lurking, don't hesitate. Throw it out of bounds. That will relinquish. That will say, live the play next down, and that's the mentality Jalen Milroe has to have if he wants to have a successful, game against Ole Miss. He obviously could use his legs and win, but when it comes down to winning football games, your legs don't always win.